our WebEx Meetings Basics is going to focus on how to schedule, host, join, and manage your WebEx meetings. So this is our agenda for our 30 minutes here. We are going to move relatively quickly just because it's a lot of information in a short amount of time. But like I said, this is available for you to review at any time. And we will also have additional WebEx sessions in the coming weeks. So look for additional information on the SMP LinkedIn site that will give you information about next week's session and the next couple weeks. Okay, so that is our agenda for today. We will have time at the end for questions, and we're going to use our chat feature here throughout the session. If you do have a question, feel free to chat me, and I will do my best to answer them as we go. Okay. All right, so first things first, how do we want to schedule our WebEx meeting? There are a lot of ways that you can schedule a WebEx meeting depending on what integrations have been done with your mail and calendar applications. So there's a lot of variables that I can't necessarily account for in this very short session. So because of that variety and the time limitation, we're going to focus on one way, and that is using your WebEx meetings site. So your WebEx meetings site is specific to your company, okay? Each company gets a unique URL, and you will get unique login information so that you can manage your meetings from the internet, okay? So if you have questions about what your link looks like or any of your login information, we would urge you to connect with your IT help desk within your company, okay? So I navigated to my company's WebEx URL and logged in with my credentials, and this is what I see, all right? So we have an interface here with a lot of information, but we're gonna look over here on the left-hand side of our window to see our menu options, okay? Your menu options are gonna line up on that left-hand side, and you're gonna see information about your meetings in the center of your screen. Now, the first thing that we want to do is schedule a meeting, okay? So if I look at the center of my screen, I see two options. I see start a meeting and I see schedule a meeting. We want to choose schedule a meeting in order to put this on the calendar for a future date. Start a meeting is a different animal altogether, and we're going to talk about that in a future WebEx Wednesday. So if you're interested in learning more about WebEx in general, stay tuned for our additional seminars. So I'll click schedule, and then from there I'm taken to an interface where I can schedule my meeting, okay? So you're going to fill out everything on the form, but we're going to pay specific attention to the information in the date and time, okay? So the form here is fairly self-explanatory. It requires you to give the meeting a topic, so this is just the subject of your meeting. And then we really want to focus on that date and time, okay? So all this information as a whole is important, but we're going to focus in on that date and time, okay? So here I've filled in my meeting topic, and I'm going to move forward with picking a date and time. So this is a zoomed in look at what your date and time selection is, and obviously pick the correct date that you want this meeting to happen, and then select the time, okay? So you can choose the time by using the drop-down menus there and get very specific, obviously, hour and minute, AM, PM, and then make sure you're choosing the duration of your meeting. The WebEx meetings interface defaults to a 1-hour meeting, but it does not need to stay that way, okay? So you can customize that by using the drop-down menus, and then when you are finished and have verified that your information is correct for date and time, go ahead and click Done. You're then brought back to your meeting summary, and you can see all of the information there, and there is also the option to adjust the time zone. So I am currently in New York State, so this is connecting up with our company server, and it says, hey, you're in the Eastern time zone. We're going to default everything to that Eastern time zone. If you need to modify that, you can click the drop down there and modify that as well. Down below, you have the ability to add attendees to your meeting. So type in the email address that you want the meeting invite to be sent to, and as you do so, your colleague's information or customer information will populate down below. So as you are moving through, you can see very easily who you have already added to the meeting invite, okay? And then if you accidentally add a colleague who does not need to be in the meeting, there is an X next to each attendee or invitee's name, and you can very easily X that out, okay? When you have added all of your attendees, you can then go ahead and click Schedule, okay? So there we see our attendees, and then we click Schedule. Moving forward, if I click Schedule, I'm going to be brought back to that main WebEx site, and I can see here in the center of my screen that my meeting is in fact scheduled, and I see a big green start button there because I am the host of that meeting. Any meeting that I am hosting is going to have a green start button as the time to begin the meeting approaches. Okay, any meeting that I am an attendee for will not have that start button, but it will have an option to join. Okay. So another way to see your upcoming meetings is to access your meetings list over on the left-hand side of your WebEx site. So if we click that Meetings tab, you're taken in and you get a kind of a snapshot of your upcoming meetings for the week, okay? And then again, if you're the host, you have that green start button. If I were to click on a specific meeting, I am able to see the details of that meeting, including the links to join it, meeting numbers, if I needed to type it in, if I was joining via a Cisco video room, and dial-in information if I'm going to be on the road and I'm just going to join using my phone, okay? So again, click the green Start Meeting button to begin a meeting. Once you are in the WebEx meeting, either as a host or a participant, the WebEx controls are available. So your WebEx controls will line up in a row at the bottom, kind of the lower third of your WebEx meetings interface. And they'll disappear if you are not hovering the mouse over them. So if your WebEx controls disappear, just kind of move your mouse a little bit over the bottom third of your screen and they should appear again. A really nice feature of our WebEx controls is there is a tooltip that pops up for each of these icons. So if you're unfamiliar with WebEx, that's totally fine. Hover your mouse over the icons in order to get a little pop-up that tells you what you will do if you click that icon, okay? So let's say that you wanted to record a WebEx meeting because not everyone was available to attend in real time. WebEx has a really easy way to record both the screen and audio content for your meeting, and it is on your WebEx control, okay? If you hover your mouse over the WebEx control bar, there is an icon. It's kind of a circle within a circle within a circle. So that is your record option. If you click that, you will get a box that looks like this, and will ask you, how do you want to record this? Where do you want this to live? I choose record to the cloud versus record on my computer because I find that it is a little bit easier on the resources on my computer than recording directly to my, my own computer here. Plus, if I record it to the cloud, I can access it anywhere I can access my WebEx meetings site. Once you've clicked the corresponding radio button to where you want your WebEx meeting to record, go ahead and click that red record button, and you'll get the notification, the audio notification to you and any of your participants who are on that the meeting is being recorded, okay? So that is all things that you can do as soon as you start your meeting. When you are ready to stop recording, you can hover your mouse over that record button again, and you'll get the option to either pause your recording or stop your recording. So let's say you wanted to have an internal discussion that is needing to stay inside the meeting. You could choose to pause your recording and then start it back up again once you've finished that particular conversation. Or I can choose to stop. If I stop and choose to restart recording later on, there'd be two separate recordings for my meeting. Okay, so you'll notice that you'll have two sessions for a particular meeting. Okay. So inside of a meeting, generally speaking, we want to be able to share content with our participants. So Webex Meetings allows you not only to hear the people that you're on a call with, but you can see them using the video streaming, and you can share content. To share content, you're once again going to hover your mouse over the top of your controls bar, and then the share icon is the third icon from the left. Okay. When you click the share icon, you are going to see a screen that looks similar to this, okay? You can choose to share your screen, which is the option at the very top. And if you have multiple monitors, you're going to see multiple screens lined up, and you can choose which screen it is that you want to share out to your participants. Underneath that, there is a list with kind of thumbnail icons of the applications that are open and running on your computer that you can share out to your meeting participants, okay? Be aware that there is a difference between sharing your screen and sharing an application. So the bottom half here is share application, top half is share screen. If I share a screen, I'm going to be able to see everything on the screen that pops up throughout the meeting. Let's say I have another meeting notification that pops up with that 15-minute timer. Any of my meeting attendees can see that if I'm sharing out my screen. Chat messages, email, it's all going to be displayed for everyone to see. But sharing your screen makes it very easy to switch between different programs. So if I needed to share an Excel spreadsheet right now, and I was sharing my screen, I could just very easily drag over the Excel spreadsheet, and you would see it displayed on screen. Now, if I choose to display an application, then I am going to show you only what's happening inside of that application. So I would just be showing you the PowerPoint, or I would just be showing you the Excel spreadsheet. It's a little bit more specific, okay? If you wanted to change applications during a meeting, you would need to go back to your share screen or your share button and choose a different application to share out from, okay? All right, so in this case, I'm going to share either a screen or an application. Pick whichever one suits you best, okay? Another option that you have available to you inside of Webex Meetings is the chat icon. So the chat icon looks like a little speech bubble there, and it allows you to chat with either a specific person or all people in the meeting, okay? So when I click chat, I get a pop-up, and it shows me who's in the meeting. And then below, I have the option to chat with either everyone or a specific person. So let's zoom in on that a little bit more so you can see. You either have a drop-down menu next to the To field, and when you click that, it'll show everybody who's in your meeting. And you can pick a specific person or choose the default of everyone, and then type your message below that To field, okay? All right, so one of the keys to a really good Webex meeting is great audio. And I'm sure that everybody has been in a meeting where not everybody is managing their audio really well. And it could be because somebody just they're not sure if they're on mute or not, or they bump a button accidentally, or they're unfamiliar with the platform. And that's okay, because in WebEx meetings, as a host, you can manage your attendees' audio, okay? So if an attendee is not on mute and you wish them to be muted, you can click on your participant list inside of your WebEx control. So that's the silhouette of a person, and that'll pop open the list of people who are in attendance at your meeting. And then as a host, you can mouse over whoever it is that is accidentally unmuted, and you can click the microphone and mute them yourself, okay? So, we can manage our meetings very easily as a WebEx host. As a participant, though, we want to practice good meeting practices and make sure that if we're in a large meeting, we mute ourselves when we are not actively sharing any information, okay? But in case that doesn't happen, we know we have an out, okay? Up next, we need to be able to leave our meeting, right? We've done all of our discussions, we've shared our content, we've collaborated with our group, and now we are ready to leave. So as a host or a participant, you have the option to leave the meeting or end the meeting by clicking the red X on your WebEx control bar. When you are a host, you'll get the option to end the meeting, and when you are a participant, you'll be prompted to leave the meeting. So it will confirm that yes, you did want to leave the meeting or end the meeting. If you accidentally click it, you have that kind of escape hatch to cancel out of. Okay. So now that I've ended my meeting, I need to be able to share my recording with those folks who were unable to attend. So I am going to wait for the notification. So my WebEx site is going to send me an email when my recording is available. If I saved it to the cloud, right? So if I save it to the cloud, I'm going to get a notification in my email, and I can click the link, and it will take me right to my WebEx site. On my WebEx site, I'm going to click the Recordings tab. So over on that left-hand side, I have a Recordings tab. And in there are all of the recordings that either have been shared with me or that I have created myself. So the first one here on the list is a recording that was shared with me, okay? So I can very easily see who shared it, the date and time, things like that, okay? Any recordings that I created, I can either download, share out using a little form, or I can edit, okay? So you can edit these minimally inside of this interface, or you could download it and use an editing software to kind of modify what has been recorded, okay? You can delete these as well. So if you have something that is, you need to save for 6 months or whatever and get rid of it, you can clean up your recordings at any time using these tools over on that far right column, okay? To share this out, you simply would click that middle icon and then type in a quick message to the people that you're sending it to and the email addresses of those you wish to share it with. And they'll get a link that they can click and access that recording directly. Okay. All right. So quick recap. To schedule your meeting, you are going to use your WebEx site. And to begin meetings, you can jump right into your WebEx site as well. Join meetings from there. It really is a one-stop shop for your WebEx interactions. Use your WebEx controls to share content, record your meeting, view your participant list. If you're a host, you can mute and unmute your participants from there. You can chat, or you can end or leave the meeting. So that WebEx controls really is the go-to while you're in a meeting. And then your recordings that are saved to the cloud are accessible on your WebEx site underneath the Recordings tab, okay? So give me just a second here. I'm going to see if I can pull up some questions that I saw come in from our participants as we were going through our conversation. Okay, I have a question here. It's a good one for this particular instance. It says, I can only see myself. This means I'm the only participant. So in this instance, you are not the only participant in this meeting. There are, what's it say? I think it says there's 49 people here, so that's amazing. The reason that you can't see the other participants in this case is because I am not using Webex meetings. I'm using Webex events. So it's almost an identical interface to what Webex meetings is. There's just some additional options and controls that I have from my side as an event host. When you're in a Webex meeting, anybody can look at the participants list and do a chat with them or see who's muted and unmuted, okay? So this is an event, it's a little bit different. You are not the only participant. I have another question coming in. If I send an invite for a meeting and select the Eastern time zone, but an attendee is in a different time zone, will the invite automatically populate the correct time for the meeting? So this is going to depend on a number of things, including the integrations that they have within their organization. So I know that within my organization, if I get a meeting invite, it will automatically adjust that starting time to meet the time zone that I'm in. But not all applications do that. So I would just make sure that if you are going to be using a different, or sending invites to people in different time zones, that you just kind of make sure that everybody is on the same page and maybe highlight the meeting start time and reinforce that it is whatever time zone that you are local to as the host, okay? So 9 times out of 10, most of your organizations are going to have an integration with either Outlook or whatever your enterprise level email system is, and that would adjust the time zones for you. I'm going to look at the chat here one more time and see if there's any other questions that I need to address. I see one here. Let's see, Stephen has asked, as a Webex client, do we have access to the event function or do we just get the Webex meetings? So it depends. Webex is sold and available in a number of different kind of packages, and depending on what your organization signed up for or paid for, you will have access to different kind of platforms. So the Webex events is kind of a bigger package, but it is an amazing platform if you're going to hold large events. You can put a lot of people inside of a Webex event and still have things running very smoothly. So that would be a question for your internal folks, your champions. Anybody with an enterprise agreement, so if you're familiar with the Webex licensing, if you have an enterprise agreement, you would have access to Webex events. Okay. If you're uncertain, then chat with the people who are the Webex champions or your IT department to understand what you have access to. Okay. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So I'm going to, we'll leave it open here for a few more minutes. Is there anybody else who has a question? Feel free to click that you have a question, or raise your hand, or type it into the chat. Okay, so I'm going to take that silence as golden, and I'm going to end our meeting. Thank you so much for attending. I do want to put a plug in here for our next session. So let me pull that up for those of you who are interested in our ongoing Webex Wednesday sessions, our next session is going to be on advanced features inside of Webex meetings. So if you are a Webex user and you kind of got your homework assignment for the next week, use Webex meetings, get familiar with it, start poking around, and come back next week for our advanced features session where you can learn to be an expert. All right. So as we're all getting comfortable in this new work from home environment, you might as well add it to your arsenal of skills and attend our next webinar, which will be 1 week from today, same time, so 11:45 to 12:15. And again, follow SMP-Corp on LinkedIn for registration information. Okay. So with that, I thank you for your time. I'm so glad you chose to spend some time here with us today. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to SMP, and we are happy to help you along your way. And again, let us know what we can do to help you. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.